Aldi has upped the ante in the battle of the supermarkets, promising shoppers more discounts than ever before. Experts say whether you shop there or not, all consumers will benefit.
Every spring, two types of shoppers walk into Aldi's garden aisle. One leaves with exactly what they need at prices that humiliate every garden center in town. The other leaves confused, empty-handed, or holding something they will regret buying before the first frost arrives. The difference between those two shoppers is not gardening knowledge. It is Aldi knowledge. 15 things the pros know that beginners are still figuring out the hard way. Starting right now. Number 15. The garden aisle is a timed event, not a permanent section. Beginners make this mistake first and pay for it longest. They discover Aldi's garden section in April, browse without buying, and return in June expecting the same inventory to be waiting. It is not there, because it was never going to be there. Aldi's garden aisle is a seasonal deployment, not a permanent department. It arrives on a schedule tied to regional planting windows. It operates for a fixed and finite period, and it disappears completely when that period closes. The shelf space it occupied gets reassigned without ceremony to whatever category comes next in Aldi's rotation. No clearance sign, no warning. Just an empty aisle where the garden section used to be. Pros treat the garden aisle like a limited engagement. Every visit during the season carries the understanding that any product seen and not purchased may not exist the following week. That urgency is not anxiety, it is accurate. Experienced shoppers build their entire spring calendar around this reality, planning visits with the same intentionality they would apply to a ticketed event with a hard-end date rather than an open-ended shopping destination they can revisit at leisure. The garden aisle has a lifespan. Ignore it, and you will spend the season shopping what is left rather than what you actually wanted. What is coming at number 14 is the single most important timing decision any Aldi garden shopper makes all season, and most beginners get it completely wrong. Number 14, the first morning of delivery, is the only time full selection exists. There is exactly one moment in the entire garden season when every seed variety, every tool size, every planter color, and every living plant option exists simultaneously on the floor. That moment is the first morning of garden inventory arrival. By the second week, the best items are already gone. By the third, what remains is whatever experienced shoppers decided was not worth their time. Former Aldi employees described that first delivery morning as a completely different shopping environment from what most customers encounter. Every slot filled, every option available, the full picture of what Aldi ordered for the season visible all at once before a single unit has moved. Pros ask staff when the garden pallet is scheduled to arrive. They put it in their calendar, they show up that morning and make decisions from a complete inventory rather than from the survivors of 2 weeks of traffic. They also arrive knowing exactly what they are looking for, which means the time spent on the floor is efficient rather than exploratory, leaving them first access to the items most likely to sell out before the afternoon shift begins. Beginners wander in whenever and wonder why the selection looks thin. If you are not subscribed yet, this is the moment. Every week this channel delivers exactly this kind of intelligence, the timing, the strategy, and the insider knowledge that transforms an ordinary Aldi trip into something genuinely exceptional. Because what is coming at number 13 is something sitting in that garden aisle that beginners walk straight past, completely unaware it is one of the best deals in the building. Number 13. Aldi's seed packets are priced below every competitor. Without a single exception, seed pricing at garden centers and hardware stores follows a premium model that most gardeners have accepted. For so long they stopped questioning it. Aldi's seed packets destroy that model completely. The pricing on Aldi seed packets comes in below every comparable retail option in most markets, and the quality performs at a level that significantly more expensive branded packets do not consistently exceed. Germination rates on properly stored and correctly planted Aldi seeds are competitive with what premium brands deliver at 2 and 3 times the price. For beginners starting their first vegetable or herb garden, the seed section represents the lowest risk entry point in the entire aisle. A failed first attempt costs almost nothing. A successful one builds the confidence and the knowledge base that makes every subsequent season more productive. Experienced gardeners who have tracked their seed purchases across multiple retailers describe Aldi as the option they return to most consistently, not because it is the only affordable option, but because the combination of price and performance makes any alternative difficult to justify. Pros build their entire seed starting calendar around what Aldi stocks. They know the varieties, they know the pricing, and they buy without hesitation because they have already done the comparison. Beginners buy one packet tentatively and leave the rest on the shelf for someone else. Now, here is the part that will make you rethink every bag of soil you have ever bought somewhere else. Number 12. Aldi's potting mix. Pricing makes every garden center look dishonest. Bagged potting mix is one of those purchases most gardeners make wherever they happen to be standing when they realize they need it. That habit is expensive and completely unnecessary. Aldi's potting mix prices out at levels that former garden center employees describe as genuinely difficult to compete with on any per-volume basis. The formulation across most mid-range potting mixes is relatively consistent regardless of brand, which means the price difference between Aldi's version and what a garden center charges for a comparable bag is almost entirely markup rather than quality. The practical impact becomes clearest for gardeners running multiple containers, raised beds, or seasonal replanting projects where the volume of potting mix required across a full season represents a genuine budget line item. Buying that volume at Aldi pricing versus garden center pricing produces savings that accumulate into a number worth calculating. Pros fill their cars with Aldi potting mix at the start of the season and never pay garden center prices for the same product. The savings across a season of container gardening are not marginal. They are significant, and they compound across every planting project that requires a fresh bag. Beginners pay twice as much for the same composition somewhere else because they did not think to check Aldi first. What is coming at number 11 will prevent you from making the most expensive single mistake in Aldi's entire garden section. Number 11. Tool. Quality varies dramatically, and the difference is detectable in 30 seconds. Not all Aldi garden tools are created equal, and the shelf presentation does not tell you which ones will last 3 seasons and which ones will fail before the summer is over. Beginners select tools by price and appearance. Pros select them by feel and construction. The two indicators that experienced Aldi garden shoppers use consistently are weight and connection integrity. Weight in the tool head signals steel density. A tool that feels surprisingly light for its size is telling you something about the gauge of metal used to make it, and what it is telling you is not good. The connection between the tool head and the handle is the more reliable test. Grip the tool near the neck and apply lateral pressure. A quality connection shows no movement whatsoever. A connection that will fail mid-season reveals microflex under that pressure before you ever take it home. Performing this test takes approximately 30 seconds per tool and eliminates the most common and frustrating garden tool failure mode entirely. Pros test every tool at the shelf and put back anything that moves. Beginners take it home and discover the problem in the middle of a planting session. But the tool decision is just one timing mistake beginners make. The next one is far more costly and far less recoverable once it happens. Number 10. Living plants sell through in days and never come back. The living plant section of Aldi's garden aisle operates on a timeline that shocks every beginner who discovers it mid-season. Annuals, vegetable starts, herb collections, and perennial offerings do not sit on the shelf waiting for a shopper to return and reconsider. They move in days at most locations, driven by a combination of Aldi's dramatically lower pricing than nursery competitors and the strictly limited quantities that arrive on each delivery. Former employees describe the living plant section as the most time-critical purchasing decision in the entire garden aisle, and the most consistently mismanaged by shoppers who do not understand the timeline. A tomato start seen on Tuesday and reconsidered until Thursday is frequently gone by Wednesday afternoon. Unlike dry goods or tools where a second delivery might replenish what's sold through, living plant restocks at Aldi are inconsistent and often do not happen at all once the initial shipment clears. Pros evaluate living plants immediately, with a clear sense of what they need and where it will go, and they buy during the visit where they see it. The deliberation that is appropriate for a tool or a soil amendment becomes costly hesitation when applied to living plant inventory. Beginners plan to come back. The shelf has already moved on. What is coming at number 9 reframes the end of garden season entirely. And it is something the pros have been quietly exploiting for years, while everyone else has stopped paying attention. Number 9. End-of-season clearance produces the best garden pricing of the entire year. Most beginners stop visiting the garden section when the season starts to wind down. That is precisely when the pros accelerate their visits. The markdown event that hits Aldi's garden inventory at end of season produces pricing reductions that can reach 50% or more off already competitive Aldi shelf prices. Tools, planters, soil amendments, watering equipment, and garden accessories all participate in this clearance event, and non-perishable items purchased at that pricing perform identically the following spring at a fraction of what a full-price purchase would cost. Former employees describe the clearance window as arriving faster than most shoppers anticipate, often appearing within days of the section beginning to look thin, rather than waiting for it to fully clear. The best clearance items sell through to the pros who were watching for the first markdown tag, while beginners assume there is nothing left worth buying. Stocking up on tools, planters, and soil supplies at end-of-season clearance pricing and storing them through the winter is one of the simplest and highest return habits any Aldi garden shopper can build, because it effectively pre-purchases next season's supplies at this season's lowest prices. What is coming at number 8 is something beginners buy new every season while pros have not paid full price for it in years. Number 8. Aldi's planter section includes items. Garden centers. Charge 3 times. As much for planters, containers, raised bed components, and fabric. Grow bags from dedicated garden retailers carry prices that reflect lifestyle branding and retail positioning far more than material cost. Aldi's planter pricing does not carry that markup, and the functional quality of the containers delivers what the price at a garden center would suggest they should be worth. Former employees describe the planter section as one of the most visibly dramatic value gaps in the entire garden aisle for any shopper who has done any comparison shopping before arriving. The same basic planter category, comparable dimensions, comparable material quality, comparable drainage design, routinely prices at Aldi for a third of what a garden center or home improvement retailer charges for a visually equivalent product. The fabric grow bag category draws particular attention from experienced container gardeners who use them in volume and who have done the per-unit math between Aldi pricing and what specialty garden retail charges for the same canvas and stitching. For a container, gardener running 8 to 12 grow bags across a vegetable garden. The difference between Aldi pricing and garden center pricing on those bags alone represents a meaningful seasonal budget saving before a single seed has been planted. Beginners walk past the planters looking for plants. Pros know the containers are sometimes the better deal. Hit that like button right now if this is already changing how you plan your next trip down that aisle. Every item still left on this list is something that separates experienced Aldi garden shoppers from everyone else, season after season. One tap. Do it now. Because what is coming at number 7 involves a purchasing decision most beginners make incorrectly every single time they visit the living plant section, and it costs them money on a compounding basis for as long as they keep making it. Number 7. Perennials return. Every year and multiply the value of every dollar. Spent the distinction between annual and perennial plants is one of the most financially significant decisions in any garden budget, and it is the distinction that beginners most consistently underweight when shopping Aldi's plant section. An annual completes its life cycle in a single season and must be repurchased the following year. A perennial returns from its root system year after year, meaning the purchase price is paid once, and the plant delivers value across multiple seasons of growth. At Aldi's already competitive plant pricing, a perennial purchase becomes one of the most favorable value calculations available anywhere in the garden aisle. Experienced Aldi garden shoppers gravitate toward the perennial section immediately and make those selections first. They are doing multi-season math that beginners have not yet learned to apply. A returning lavender, a spreading coneflower, a perennial ornamental grass purchased at Aldi pricing and returning for 5 or 10 subsequent seasons delivers a per-season cost that makes the initial price essentially disappear over time. Some perennials also divide and spread naturally, meaning a single Aldi purchase can eventually populate an entire garden bed without any additional investment. Beginners buy annuals because they produce immediate results. Pros buy perennials because they produce perpetual ones. What is coming at number 6 is something pros check on every single garden aisle visit, and beginners almost never notice until the window has already closed permanently. Number 6. Soil amendments. Appear once and never get restocked. Garden lime, slow-release fertilizer, bone meal, blood meal, compost accelerator. These products appear in Aldi's garden section during the seasonal window in quantities that do not get replenished once the initial stock sells through. They arrive on the pallet, they sit on the shelf for a finite and unpredictable period, and when they are gone until next season. Former employees describe soil amendments as the garden aisle equivalent of the most popular finds items in terms of their availability pattern. First come, only served. No restock, no alternative timing opportunity. A gardener who identifies a specific amendment they need and plans to return for it on the next visit is gambling on inventory availability that may have already resolved itself in someone else's favor. For gardeners who use amendments as a standard part of their seasonal preparation and feeding routine, and who understand the per-pound cost difference between Aldi and a garden center for the same product, the amendment section is one of the highest priority stops on every garden aisle visit. Missing the window by a week means paying significantly more somewhere else. Pros scan the amendment section first and buy enough to cover the season when they find what they need. Beginners assume it will be there on their next visit. It will not. Number 5 is something most beginners have genuinely never thought to look for in a grocery store. Yet pros consider it one of the most reliable value opportunities in the entire building during garden season. Number 5. Combination. Kits deliver the highest per item value in the entire section. Aldi periodically offers combination garden kits that bundle multiple related items into a single package priced below what the individual components would cost even at Aldi's individual item pricing. Raised bed starter kits, herb garden collections, container gardening bundles, tool sets assembled for the seasonal display. These combination offerings represent the most aggressive value packaging in the entire garden aisle, and they sell through on arrival day at most locations. Experienced Aldi garden shoppers identify combination kits immediately and evaluate them with a specific question in mind. Would I buy all of these components individually if they were sold separately? When the answer is yes, and the bundle price is lower than the sum of those individual prices, the decision is already made before the package is even fully examined. Former employees describe these kits as the items most likely to be gone before the first afternoon of the garden delivery day, specifically because experienced shoppers recognize the value calculation without needing time to think about it. The beginner who spends 20 minutes comparing individual items has already lost access to the bundle that would have made those comparisons unnecessary. Beginners walk past combination kits, selecting components individually at individual prices, spending more for less, without realizing either thing is happening. What is coming at number 4 is something every experienced Aldi garden shopper does before they even enter the store, and it costs nothing but 2 minutes of attention. Number 4, pros map the layout change. Before every visit. Aldi's garden inventory does not maintain a fixed layout across the full seasonal window. As items sell through and shelf space opens, remaining inventory consolidates, migrates to end caps, and occasionally relocates to the general clearance area near the front of the store. New garden arrivals sometimes appear as finds items in the main center aisle rather than in the seasonal section. Clearance garden products sometimes migrate entirely away from the garden section before the final markdown gets applied. Beginners who check only the fixed garden aisle location they visited on their first trip miss relocated clearance inventory, end cap overflow, and garden-relevant finds items appearing elsewhere in the building. Pros treat the garden section as a zone to scan, rather than a fixed location to visit. They check the seasonal aisle, the adjacent end caps, the center finds aisle, and the general clearance area on every visit because experience has taught them that useful garden inventory can appear anywhere in the store during the seasonal window, 30 additional seconds of scanning on every visit has produced enough unexpected finds to make the habit permanent for anyone who has experienced it once. Former employees describe regularly relocating garden clearance items to the front of the store, while the main garden section still appeared active, meaning shoppers checking only the obvious location were missing markdowns happening in plain sight 15 feet from the entrance. What is coming at number 3 is something that catches even experienced garden shoppers off guard when they encounter it for the first time, because the value it represents is invisible until you stop and do the math. Number 3. Watering equipment at Aldi is priced for guilt-free annual replacement. Hose nozzles, watering wands, sprinkler heads, soaker hose sections, basic connectors. All of this equipment degrades under UV exposure, thermal cycling, and regular handling in ways that make annual or biennial replacement a practical reality for most gardeners, regardless of what they originally paid. This replacement cycle makes per-unit price far more significant over a gardening lifetime than any single purchase suggests. Aldi's watering equipment pricing is calibrated to make replacement a financially neutral decision rather than an irritating annual expense. Former employees describe the watering section as one of the most reliably priced categories in the entire garden aisle, with components that perform through a full season and that can be replaced the following year at the same Aldi price without any sense of financial loss. The hardware store model asks gardeners to pay premium prices for equipment that fails at similar rates. Aldi's model accepts the replacement reality and prices accordingly. A gardener who spends $20 on a hose nozzle at a hardware store and $8 on the equivalent at Aldi is not buying more durability with the premium version. They are buying the same functional lifespan at a price that makes the inevitable replacement feel like a loss rather than a routine maintenance decision. Pros buy Aldi watering equipment without negotiation and replace it without regret. Beginners are still calculating whether a premium nozzle represents better value than one that will need replacing at the same time. What is coming at number 2 is the strategy that separates the most experienced Aldi garden shoppers from everyone else, and it has nothing to do with products, timing, or pricing at all. Number 2. Pros have a staff relationship that delivers intel before it hits the floor. Every piece of timing intelligence that makes the difference between first-day access and mid-season leftovers exists inside the heads of the staff working that store before it reaches any customer-facing communication. Delivery schedules, restock timelines, what is arriving on Thursday's pallet, what sold through faster than expected and will not be coming back, what is getting marked down this Friday. All of this information is available to the shopper who has built a genuine and recognized relationship with the staff at their specific Aldi location. Not an elaborate relationship, a consistent one. The same friendly face shopping at the same time on the same days, asking genuine questions, treating staff as people who know things worth knowing. Former employees describe the regular customers who receive proactive garden arrival information as almost universally the shoppers who invested in basic consistency and warmth over time. The staff member who mentions Thursday's pallet unprompted does so for the customer they know, not the stranger asking cold questions at the register. That distinction is the entire difference between receiving information and having to hunt for it. No app, no weekly ad, no online community delivers timing intelligence as specific and as current as a staff member who knows you and wants your next trip to be productive. What is coming at number 1 is the mindset shift that makes every other tip on this list more powerful, more consistent, and more financially rewarding than any individual strategy ever could on its own. Number 1. Pros treat the garden aisle as a year-round project, not a seasonal visit. The most fundamental difference between an experienced Aldi garden shopper and a beginner is not what happens during garden season. It is what happens during the months when the garden section does not exist. Pros use the off-season to assess what failed last year and why, to identify the gaps in their garden setup that need filling when the next season arrives, to build the staff relationships that will produce advanced pallet timing on arrival day, and to develop a purchasing priority list so that first morning shopping is decisive rather than exploratory. They arrive on delivery day looking like they have already been shopping the section for a week, because in every meaningful sense they have. The beginner shows up when the garden section appears, makes impulsive selections from whatever looks appealing, and leaves without a clear plan for how any of it connects to what they are actually trying to grow. The pro has been planning since the season ended, knows exactly what they need and approximately what it will cost, and executes a purchasing strategy that was designed during the quiet months specifically for this morning. The garden aisle rewards preparation with access, value, and selection that reactive shopping never produces. Every tip on this list is more powerful in the hands of the shopper who arrived ready to use it rather than the shopper who arrived hoping to figure it out as they go. None of this requires special access. All of it requires knowing what the pros already know. Thanks for watching. Tell us in the comments what you are targeting in Aldi's garden aisle this season. Click the next video showing on the left right now to keep building the shopping intelligence that makes every Aldi trip more productive and more profitable than the last. And if you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss what is coming next.